Hey, you must feel lucky because you're listening to a new X and One Legion cast. And I'm joined today by Mitchem. Matt is out this episode, though. He is picking up his life and moving it 5 minutes down the road in the middle of winter for some reason. But we are joined by two very special guests. We got Jeff and Justin from the Army Esports team here with us today. How's it going, guys?
Going good. Yourself?
Good. I am a bit jealous because you guys just got to participate in LVO, and I almost rearranged some life plans to be able to make it out there, but I was like, no, I'll be responsible. I'll wait, try and put it off till next year. So, but you guys got to go, and we're going to be getting into that later here. But do you guys want to tell us what the Army Esports team is? I did not know that it was a thing until LSO happened. And even then I was like, oh, well, that's a cool jersey. But you guys have kind of been talking to Mitchem a little bit. And so through him, I've learned a little bit. But so please enlighten our listeners and me as well.
So the US Army Esports Table top team is kind of an amalgamation of some different marketing initiatives by the United States Army. And really, it's just to highlight the U.S. Army kind of in a different light than how they may be perceived through video games and media and stuff like that. It is really about community outreach and being good stewards of the Army values, kind of the Army culture. So big emphasis of the team is really on your sportsmanship and how you play, and that's really it. It's nothing super complicated or in depth. It's not part of recruiting. It's not a recruiting tool. We're not Army recruiters. And it's just passionate individuals that are active in their hobbies, go to events. We do prefer that individuals attend competitive events and have rankings on there. But really, just to be a community member, you can be active duty, reserves, National Guard, retired, a veteran, even Army dependents. They have, like my son, they have a sponsor, i.e. myself, on there. And it's all about getting out there, meeting people in the community. And like you said, not a lot of awareness. And that's something we're changed. It's something I noticed. I know we're going to talk about LVO later, but we had a couple individuals come up and talk to us and be like, hey, same thing. We didn't know you guys had a team. What's it all about? You guys are actually active duty, which Justin and I both are active duty on there. So it was really good to see that some engagement, some awareness is getting out there. And I've been on the Discord, and I discovered at LSO. I've been in the Army for 20 years, and I did not know that it existed until I went to LSO and got to talk to some more of the members. And, I'm passionate about the Army, and I'm really passionate about my hobby. So those two things come together. I like it. And I hit up Justin at LSO, and we've been kind of running the Star Wars Legion team since it started.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's Jeff and I actually met at LSO last year, and we played each other, and it was the last round of the game. It was the last round of the tournament for both of us, and of course, I was playing a disgusting Gar list, and just our first interaction from when I walked up the table, handed me his list, and I didn't even hand him my list yet. It was just like he saw me walking over there, like a little pep in my step, and he just knew. He's like, "You're not playing one of those stupid Gar lists."
It was your dice tray.
Yeah, that's right. It was because I have a Republic dice tray, and I just walked up. I just won my game. And he just gave me that look, and I was like, "Oh man, this game's either going to go really good or really bad." It ended up being one of my favorite games of the whole tournament. We were giving each other shit from the get go, and we just hit it off from there. So I'm really glad we got to meet, and I'm really glad we're allowed to spread this awareness about the Army Esports team and everything, and yeah, so we're glad to have you guys on, and it's awesome. So
I appreciate it.
I had a question. So for the team, is it based out of certain locations, or is it throughout America, throughout the world?
So I can come take that one. Yeah, I mean it's it's not set in one location or anything else. We're actually want to get more people in more locations, because obviously the more we can spread our awareness through different people, we can grow the team, continue to spread the word about the Army, and show that, like Jeff said, like the Army is more than just defending the country and doing all that things. Like, you can do a lot of outreach for your community, building it up that way. So we're anyone that's watching and knows, like, they play Legion and they're in the military, or they want to join the military, they can always hit us up on Discord, and we can talk to them about both sides and answer both questions. We're not just Star Wars Legion guys, and we're not just Army guys. We're just normal people like everybody else. We have a hobby, and we also chose a profession, and we have people everywhere. I mean, there's people in Europe, people in Asia that play, here in America. So if there's a military base, there's probably a Star Wars Legion player out there, and we're just trying to reach out to them all and get together.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
I like that, just because I know moving is a component of the nature of your guys' job, and so being able to have a community that, I guess, travels with you seems like it's neat. My dad was Air Force for 25 years, so we did the movie thing, and it's like I couldn't tell you who my dad's friends were. You know,
Right.
he just always had to leave them behind when he went to the next spot. So I think that's really neat. So
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate what your dad did. It's really nice on the US Army Discord. For instance, I'm moving to Virginia coming up, and I can just post in there like, hey, who's stationed around that area and what are they doing? And I got a couple of guys like, oh, I'm up at Belvoir, I go to this game store. This is the game store that has Legion. Let me shoot the link to the local Discord. It felt like a very easy ability to tie in with the other individuals that I wanted to. And I know for a fact if I was going to go up to Fort Sill or down to Stewart or something like that, I could reach out. And just about everybody knows. It's funny, I got back, I was talking to an old commander of mine who's up at Fort Belvoir in Virginia, and I was like, oh yeah, the guy on the Army team that runs this, you can hit him up, and I let him know the name. He's like, oh yeah, I used to play with him at Savannah Land Games down at Stewart. And so you form that instant connection that you kind of just tie in with individuals. And it also helps that awkward, like, showing up to the scene. Oh, these guys are playing around the table. They're all laughing. They all know each other. It makes it a lot easier to be like, oh, hey, we know so-and-so. And you have the hobby connection and the Army connection. I really enjoy it. It's free to join. Just shoot us a message on Discord if you meet one of the criteria and have more questions. And I'm all for it.
Yeah, we'll put that link to you guys' Discord in our description below, so they have easy access. So if anybody has any questions, just feel free to reach out to Jeff and Justin for sure. They're nice enough guys when you get to know them.
Very
Awesome.
good. Yeah. Well, cool. And while you're checking out that description, you should go a little bit further down and comment, because we are in the middle. If you made it through our barn burner of a last episode, at the end, we announced our 300 sub giveaway here on YouTube. So if you comment on that episode or whatever episode between now and when we hit 300, you'll be entered for a giveaway. We are going the gift card route this time because shipping's wild. Stock is wild right now. Who knows when B2s will come back?
Yeah. Tracking those down was a pain.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
Call up Watt Tambor and be like, hey, get those furnaces fired. But anyways,
I think right now, as the release of this video, we're sitting around 250, 260. So still plenty of time to leave a comment. Feel free to leave a comment on Spotify as well. I will be monitoring there. So all you audio-only listeners, don't feel like you're left out. Please leave a comment. We will find you, and we will find a way to give you a gift card. So, yeah.
Yes, speaking of Spotify, Denethar, if you're listening, which you listened to last episode, I hope you've been painting that Shadow Collective army, because we said we would hobby harass you about it. So get some paint on those models.
Yeah. And also, while you're speaking of that, I got Kid Aaron up here at our local store. He's got a huge special list coming up that involves some droids and some aqua droids. So this is your hobby harassment. You better get on that, buddy. I know we talked about it on Monday, but this is your harassment. So
All right.
How's that table come in, Mitchem?
okay, wow, we're just going
Man,
straight.
what a natural.
We're
What a
just
natural.
going right into it.
Hey, he's almost started.
Yeah, you picked like a desert terrain, which is the easiest, and he's
okay. Well,
freaking
okay.
longest right.
Whoa. Okay, you guys are a little behind. So I'm glad you asked, Jeff. Officially, I've decided what my table is going to be. I found a cool mat on FLG. It's going to be officially a Felucia table. So I'm going to do some ATE prints from my lovely friends that have 3D printers, and kind of do like a couple bunkered down ATETEs in the middle, and then just a bunch of like pet store plants, like fish tank plants around it and everything, and try to get some trees and stuff like that. So that's all I did for hobby harassment this week, is decide what
There's
my table's going to be.
I think it's in Hobby Lobby. There's like these fairy garden mushrooms. They're about 3 to 4 inches tall. They're foam. They just come in a net bag. They're really cheap. I picked up several because I was going to do one. You noted that we move a lot though, so I went the fish terrain route because that moves very well. It's very durable. I can just keep it in a crate. With those, it's like the resin rocks, and they have the anemones and stuff. It looks really good on the table.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do, just for kind of like ease to see how it all works together. But I wanted to add some painting 3D element. I didn't want to dive in. I'm trying to dip my toes in, and hopefully my next table will be better. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fish tank terrain and a couple 3D printed models. So we'll
Are you
see.
sandbagging this table you haven't even made yet?
No. I'm setting the expectations really low, so I can outdo myself when it's actually done. So
Used a famous Army quote of "Do better, just do better." That's what we say a lot. So I like it. You're nearly on the esports team now.
Hey, I would love to be an honorary member. But yeah, so we'll see. That's as far as I've gotten. I have my inspiration back here too. I've recently we had to baby proof our living room, so the wife said the fish tank's got to come into my office. So so now I have a reminder and my inspiration, and we'll see how it goes. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Nice.
Yeah, our next tournament is in February, at the end of February.
So it's going to be done by then?
No.
Okay.
I was saying that because the tournament is not going to be done for that tournament. But hopefully the next one will be ready. That's the goal. But I have the whole year, so we'll see.
Painting? How's painting? Did you prime anything? All right, so Jeff or Justin?
I painted some POIs. Which don't count,
I came back from LVO, and I really enjoyed my Empire. So I've been playing Empire since release on there. And I, of course, have a bunch of random Rebel stuff from, buying core sets and stuff, and a couple of heroes I enjoyed. And I picked up the Shadow Collective a while ago because I'm a Mandalorian fan for the Mandalorians, and I keep hoping that they'll do a Mandalorian Battle Force or something along those lines. However, in the interim, I've had these models sitting around primed, and when I was packing everything up, because I'm going to be moving shortly, I have to do some Army stuff, so I'll be out of country, come back, and I'm going to move to Virginia. So basically, my Empire stuff is away for the rest of the year. But what I realized was I don't have any foam for my Shadow Collective, so that is what is sitting on my tray. And at one point, I had painted, let's see if I can get a good image here. I had painted one of the Mandalorians in like a purple magenta. I don't know if the light's doing it justice on there. But all the rest of them are just primed. So that is going to be what I'm going to work on. So looking at it, my objective for the year is the 12 remaining Super Commandos I have, the 12 Pikes, the 6 BSE, my bus, and my Commander Maul all need to get painted. And then I'm going to finish my I have like an industrial like fuel silo table. When we were at LVO, I got the file name I have 4 of the Disney Coke bottles, like the circular Coke bottles. And I guess there's a file out there that shows a walkway going around it and kind of holds it up. I really liked it, and it will add to what I already have. So I'm going to finish that table up and get a mat that's appropriate for my industrial ground. So that's my goals by the end of the year. And hopefully I'll have it up in time for Nova.
Awesome.
I don't know if I'll play Shadow Collective at Nova. Well, I won't be playing anything at Nova, I guess. I don't know if I'll be playing Shadow Collective unless there's some real nice new rules out, but I do want to finish the models up and give them the justice they're due.
Look, AMG, it doesn't got to be a Shadow Collective update. Just put those units and other forces or something, just so the units can get some love, or knock those points back down. Come on. You guys don't need to hear me go into this again.
We don't hear anything about Shadow Collective stock running out, so we know the stock's there. And
I know.
I mean, if they want to make money and sell models, that's all
It's a good value. It is a very good value.
Yeah.
That's a small hobby goal for the year. Like I said, I am going to be out of country and then moving, so that's the best I got. But Justin is the most eligible bachelor on the US Army Esports Stores Legion team and has all the time. So I expect, 100 models, 120?
Yeah, we're small. We'll start with, as everyone knows, they released Aquas and crab droids. I got both in today, and I got excited. So I built a couple of Aquas, and I primed them, and then I'm slowly doing like a little blue because all my models, I like to paint them a little different color. I don't really do them necessarily a theme, so they're easily recognizable. So they all have these like cool accents around them for all this line. So I'm going to do them in a little blue, and then maybe like a gunmetal around them or so. But yeah, I'm going to try and do 2 sets of Aquas, probably 2 crab droids, and then I have a Rebel Army that I got to finish a whole sleeper cell, and then just finish painting. Like I've makeshift painted probably 80% of those models, but they need some love, and seems like Rebel's on the up and coming. So I guess I got to jump in that boat and start rowing. So I got to put some paint on there. So I'm going to try and do that. But I'll be conservative and say I'm going to do my Aquas and the crab droids for the year, because I don't want to be overzealous.
Hey, that's what we're all about here.
Hey,
man.
aim small, miss small, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, that sounds great. I'm at 4 of 72 for the year. I've got I'm gonna shill for Flashpoint real quick. I did Master Chief.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of going for the military theme. We launched our Halo Flashpoint podcast if you want to check that out if anyone's interested. But I did paint some Legion stuff. I got a Hunter painted. This is an alternate print just because I wanted the season 2 scarf look. So it's always hard to focus these. We'll put pictures of everything on Instagram, but yeah. So I did alt prints for the whole squad, and so if I ever have a psychotic episode and get all these clones painted and play a clone army, I'll paint those the OG Bad Batch models and run them that way. But in the meantime, I've got this going. So yeah, but that's moving along. And then I found a new print for the Bespin table I've got. I think I'm going to try. It's like a landing platform. So the table needed some height too. So I'm going to try and get that painted and done as well. But yeah, okay. So I feel like we've properly harassed Mitchem, as is tradition. But yeah, we will start rolling into some LVO talk here. Yeah. So Justin and Jeff here, but you guys both played in the GT, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, cool. I'm going to have some pictures just kind of rolling on a slideshow if you're watching on YouTube. Before we get into their experience, we got to sponsor a belt for the Invitational. That was pretty neat. we wish we could have been there to see it ourselves, but it was cool to still be a part of it in some way. It sounded like everyone had a pretty great time, and yeah. So whoever, I guess, was this your guys' first time to LVO? First biggest event you guys had gone to, or yeah, just start there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Both me and Jeff, more Jeffs than me, had been inspiring to play at LVO for a long time. I've always been the shyer one and kind of shy away from it a little bit, but we both played in LSO, and then we talked about trying to do at least one more tournament before, and we got the opportunity to play LVO, unbeknownst to both of us, knowing that it was going to be probably one of the biggest GTs out there in a long time with Legion, and having, I think we had like 118 people that played in the GT alone, a little over 160 altogether there within the Invitational as well. So it was a pretty cool event, pretty big for both of us. So yeah, Jeff, I don't know what you got to add on to it.
Yeah, I started out playing 40K when I was a kid, right? And I have wanted to go to LVO forever. And with the move coming up that I mentioned to Virginia, this felt like, and I don't think we stipulated, but Justin and I are down in El Paso, Texas. This seemed like the closest time that I could get up to LVO, and so we just kind of made it happen. I knew it was a big ask to my family. As I mentioned, I'm leaving out of country here shortly for work, but everything just kind of lined up, and we got to go up there and just had a great time. It was well organized. I I felt like it had everything that I was expecting of that sort of event in my head, so I hadn't churched it up too much. And got to go out there, and I got to do it for my work and with one of my best friends down here in El Paso to go check it out. So, which was good because it was a long drive. Next day, because we had to get back for the Netty.
Of course,
the Netty
national championship game, the Natty.
Oh,
on Monday.
Okay, of course.
Come on,
of course.
Sports ball, Randy. Sports ball.
Thank you,
That
Mitchem.
there, the Christmas tree table was my favorite table, by the way. Like, that one was so cool to me. They just
It
had
looks
like this.
So, speaking on that, Justin, how were like the density of the tables? I know a lot of talk, at least at Worlds last year, that there was a lot of lacking of terrain, I guess. And with the game kind of where it is now, it seems like the more terrain on a table, the better. So, what were your kind of overall general consensus on the density of the terrain and stuff like that, or just the tables in general?
I mean, both of our initial thoughts when we went in and did a little recon to see what the tables looked like. We were surprised at the amount. I mean, on some of these tables, there was like very little corridors to move through. It was, I mean, you were going to be like within half range of some models. Like, you're just going to turn around the corner and there's going to be a set of sleeper cell waiting for you there. Like, that's how dense some of it was. But they did have some open. I mean, I know Jeff was running a Tempest Force list, so that was our biggest concern, because he was like, I don't know how you're going to get these 3 ATSTs on some of these boards. And I had a snail tank myself, so trying to figure out how you're going to maneuver these vehicles, because it seems like with the new Legion 2.0 as it is, that there's a lot more vehicles on the table, and everyone felt we needed more terrain with the lack of cover, but now we're putting vehicles also on the table. So I wouldn't say there wasn't a bad balance of it, but it was surprising with the amount of terrain there and the amount of difference in height. There was a lot of different height 2, even height 3s pieces on the table. So that was pretty cool to see, and it was kind of refreshing, if anything, to me, like, because I don't think anyone wants to play this game and just run in the open and start shooting each other Revolutionary War style. So
yeah,
that's how I felt about it.
That's good.
Yeah, my initial impression, I was a little concerned, mainly for the ATSTs on there. I think it's good. You know, it for any listeners that haven't gone to an event, being able to go out there and challenge yourself, one against players you haven't played against, or maybe lists you haven't seen before. But perhaps in our local area, we've been running tables too light, perhaps on there, and so it was good to see that. My initial fears were lessened once I actually got on the tables and started, especially at the height of the ATST. You can kind of move over a lot of those little shorter buildings and stuff like that. But it did require some initial thought. I have to tell you though, I felt really bad for my very last opponent who had rebels, and it was the sparsest table I think in the entire event that we ended up on, and I had Tempest Force. Brandon Air Force out there. Sorry, brother. It was a good game, and Sleeper Cell was still scary even on that table, but I told him afterwards, I honestly think if we'd been on the denser tables where he could have moved up more and kept more models out of line of sight, that it probably should have been his game for that. It was just, luck of the table draw, so to speak. But there was beautiful variety, a lot of different looks of different types of terrain. We saw the Christmas Village. There was the Lego one. It was great. It was a lot of fun. But like Justin said, one of the tables had this. I don't think I have a picture of. Oh yeah, I do have a picture of it. Had this like big Bespin tower up in the corner. Yeah, that one right there. That's mine is Geo's. I don't know what's getting up there. That was a big piece, but it just gave a lot of character to the entire thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like that Lego table. That's kind of a nice little adds character to the game and everything. I never thought about using Lego terrain.
When I saw this, I wish they had Lego proxies for everything.
Oh, that would have been perfect. Yeah,
I realized that would be an incredible lift. This is what I should have built my
table out of. It should have been Lego. That's what I should have. I should have done this first.
I have a feeling that would have took you longer somehow.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would have never got done. 100%. So it probably would have been more expensive to buy all those individual pieces and stuff.
Legos are pretty expensive these days.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree that the tables definitely look denser. I think last year they just tried to compensate for, you always have heavy cover by just putting hardly anything on the table. But now there's more cover, and like you're saying, Justin, there's more vehicles. So people are also bringing their own cover a lot of times. So I could see how that could benefit some range 2 units that like to sprint on the table and get a bunch of free aims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's a perfectly balanced unit. I don't know why you're treating it like it's otherherwise.
Yeah.
The unit's fine. Perhaps a little cheap. But yeah, so Jeff or Justin, do you guys want to take us through your list and just kind of give us some highlights from your tournament games as we kind of go through? Or?
Sure. I think we can save the best for last with Justin. I'll go through mine. So I had Tempest Force with 2 ATSTs and Major Marquard. I had 2 Naked Scouts with just a Mercy Transponders upgrade, 2 units of Stormtroopers, a DLT-20, and a Repair Droid, and one that I kind of labeled my Assault Squad. It had the crit gun with the captain and the scopes and no push, and then 2 officers just for getting those aims going out there. I made this change at the last second before going, so I did not have a huge amount of reps with Tempest Force on there, minus a local tournament we did here in a couple pickup games where Justin schlacked me. I normally run Vader, and Mitchem, if you remember, I did not run Vader at LSO. So
yeah, you did it.
I did not. So I think subconsciously I don't play Vader at tournaments, so that I can say that I would have won if only I had played what I normally do. Right. So I've made an excuse to save my ego. Right. I didn't have a lot of reps to this list. I mean, what do you expect of me?
That's what happened in our game. Clearly,
yeah.
It was Vader was the difference. Clearly, so
right. I learned quite a bit at LVO that probably. I don't know for certain. It's hard to say. I went 4-2 overall. I feel like potentially I could have gone 5-1 if I'd had more reps with this list before going in there. But it's impossible to tell. I could Monday morning quarterback all day long on it. I went in with a goal of winning 4 games, and I won 4 games, so I'm fine with that. I do think that Major Barkwad's command cards, his 2 and 1 pip, probably should be replaced. I know that's kind of the conventional wisdom, anyways, in Discord for push and ambush on there, just so you can make sure that you have control in the ATSDs. But it's really great opening with standing orders onto one ATSD, directing the other. I have 2 copies of improvised orders, which kind of guarantees I can go with the third ATSD when I wish. And with the Scout 2, you're looking at a really good opening salvo with those ATSTs coming out last relative to your opponents, the majority of your opponents' activations. I think my biggest error was kind of understanding how many aims do I need to build up with the officer, because the more activations I'm waiting to get the officer and get aims set up before I do the ATSTs is also the more moves a sleeper cell is doing to get dodges or anything along those lines. But overall, I had a really good experience, and I liked the list. I liked running armor. As a kid that grew up watching the OGs, like Return of the Jedi and stuff, I mean, this is kind of the list you envision for Empire. Just a bunch of nameless dudes out there facing the wrath of their opponents. I do hope that speeder bikes perhaps get some changes coming up. I would like to run this list with doing 2 ATSDs and then the speeder bikes in between on there. But went 4-2 overall. Mainly played intercept the majority of the time, which is really good for this list. One ATSD can go on over to each of the points. You can usually hand them the intel token and a supporting repair droid, and then I just flex my assault squad to whatever side I need or the major. So I did 3 intercept, 2 shifting, and 1 recover. Recover was probably my biggest mistake in this list. It's just too many objectives, and it's weird. It's like, Justin, you told me that before we even went. I have a problem listening, clearly. And then for secondaries, I think the only 3 secondaries I played the entire tournament was Sweep Marked and Surface Scan, which was interesting. I did have Strafing Run in the condition cards, which is probably not noted as being a strong one. I kind of felt like it's not based on troops. I'm not sure, but it did pay off for me in one game. I put the Strafing Run on the side. I played Major Marquard's suppression card and managed to, on the very end turn, have a unit drop scanners and both units be 2 panic to control and intercept. So I'm not saying that people are sleeping on that card, but it did work out for me in this instance on there.
Did you have a bring them to heal in your deck? No,
It doesn't look like it.
I didn't. I feel like that one's too easy for an opponent to either immediately cancel out or. I understand what they're going for. I feel like that specific mechanic, to manage it, you're going to have to have Vader, you're going to have Krennic, probably range troopers, and you're going to have to activate such a specific order to ensure they don't inspire off or anything along the lines there. And most opponents are immediately going to flip that. I just don't think it's worth it.
Speaking of that, though, Randy, like, surprisingly, a number of people had Bring Them to Heal as one of their secondaries on non-Empire lists. Like, everyone thinks that's like where you staple, but I actually saw it in a lot of GAR lists. I never played it either, but I definitely saw a surprising amount of it out there. I don't know if people are putting it in there because they know people are going to ban it, so it's like a free ban, like a mental thing for them, but it was out there way more than I expected, for sure.
I guess I could kind of see that for GAR, because that army tends to all be Courage 2 and above, regardless of commander range. But
right,
yeah.
That's fair. Well, still just kind of looking over the event. I mean, 14 out of 116 people. That's pretty good for you, Jeff. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So
I appreciate it. I think we have a small, but we have a really strong community down here that, like, we run our local events. I hold the time standards very close. We did a lot of reps before LSO. We went up there with a big El Paso group, and our inside the store was like, hey, we're coming up here. You're having your stuff. We're running the 2-hour time. I think we shortened it to just 2 hours on there to go through. Like, if you can get through your turns and do your stuff in 2 hours, then you're going to feel like you have all the time in the world on a 2 2 hours and 3 minutes on those lines.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Overall, I played 2 Rebel lists, 1 Blizzard, 1 EXD, 1 standard Sys list that was just all B2s. It was just 6 things of B2s with heavies and extra body, a lot of bulk to go through, and 1 GAR list. In a big difference from LSO, I only played a single GAR list.
So which I'll ask, which do you felt like was the matchup that favored you the most, and then which one did you end up being the most uphill battle for you?
Both of the droid lists I played were the most difficult on there. Either, and those 2 losses were back to back. I played EXD and I got beat solidly by my opponent with the double persuader on recover the research on there. And in my head, I was like, I don't have the activations for recover. The next one that came up was the Sys list with the B2s. So intercept came up, and I had mentioned that with the 2 ATSDs, this naturally seems like really strong. Okay, but I got to be within half range of it, and I got a bunch of B2s or wrist rockets that to be within half range of it, and there was a lot of B2s to get through. And that was probably a turn 0 mistake, or I don't know, however we want to phrase it nowadays. A turn 1 mistake on my part for letting intercept sit instead of analyzing the list and understanding the dangers on there. Both of those were just really difficult. Sys droids have access to some fairly cheap ion throughout their entire list. They are resistant. They're not worried about suppression, which I've used in lists before. And then I would say the one that favored me the most is Rebels have kind of embodied that glass cannon. I feel like I know they did really well in the tournament, so definitely not saying that they're weak. A skillful pilot can use that to their advantage quite a bit. But it feels really good to get a whole ATST shot on a white save trooper unit and just take units off the board. Problem is really if you get outmaneuvered or outpiloted on there. So Brandon in my last match used his sleeper cell, even with sparse cover, very, very well. If you're out there listening, I was really impressed with his ability to use the minimal terrain to his advantage with that sleeper cell. And I kind of discounted them until they came around the corner, and Armor 5 doesn't care about 12 hits. Okay, Strip 5, 7 saves on a white save ATSD. Makes the heart thump a little bit inside your chest. Inside of there. So while I would say that Rebels I had the easiest time against, that is a cautionary tale of don't get too comfortable with it.
Was it mostly just the 12 dice coming in, or did any of them try to run up and punch a walker with that impact punch?
It's the last game. You're a little mentally exhausted, and I got tunnel vision. I'll hit it myself all day long. I got tunnel vision on the ATRTs. I'm like, it's the impact weapon. True, but it's also only 3 hits, and I have 4 repair inside of there. So even between 3 of them, they're putting out as much potential wounds as a single sleeper squad was. And I made a mental mistake moving an ATST up to get a good shot on one of those little walkers. And just kind of mentally, I was like, it's just sleeper cell over here. And then, it had 1 or 2 wounds already on it. And then he dropped 7 on it. And I was like, oh boy, this guy's sitting on a shifting priority. This is going to be trouble. And if you saw from my list, my troops are not running up there and holding anything. They're hiding behind the ATSDs to repair them, maybe getting a pot shot off.
Rebels are back, baby. I'll just say right now, we're back. We're back.
Oh, they are. They are. For certain.
Well, cool. I like these order tokens, though. I know I'm not on the team, but I might have to get an order in on those.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Are they the poker chip style, or are they 3D printed?
No, they're acrylic tokens that I got on Etsy, and then
Fancy.
used. Yeah. I got that big ball in office for money, and then used some stickers on the top. So this might hurt the Shadow Collective hearts out there, but Those black tokens are actually the Shadow Collective tokens from the store, just because it went well with our colors, and then I covered them up.
What can I say, man? It's a striking color set. Man.
Yeah, that's the table I was talking about that kind of had the least amount of cover for the
Mm.
sleeper cell over there. And that crater on the right was the specific instance I was talking about where I had the ATSD's gone in this picture. I had moved it up right to that crater. You can see sleeper cells hiding behind that building on the right. And they just came out and put the hurting on that. Yeah, that was a close game.
Good deal.
I guess if you, looking back now, if there was a major list change you could make, is there anything, or would it, like you were saying, just more reps you think would have been the best help?
I think my biggest changes would be to take out Marquard's 2-pip and 1-pip for push and ambush, and then removing recover for everybody says I should play close the pocket with the ATSDs on there. I was talking to Mitchem a little bit before we started, and I don't know if it's me or what, but every time I play close the pocket, I've gotten beat with Vader Dues, with Tempest Force. I don't know what I'm doing. My son tuned me up the other day with his Gar on close the pocket, with some Anakin tempted shenanigans. He plays 501st, and maybe I committed too early. I'm not sure what it is. And I know Justin's taken me on close the pocket as well. So I finally swapped it out for recover, and that did not do me any favors whatsoever. So I think reps, those 2 command card changes and that 1 mission change, and I would have felt a lot better going in with the same list.
It was 10 activations, correct?
It is. I'm not a fan of the 5 naked scouts. I think the officers generating aim tokens helped out, even sometimes for stormtroopers. If my ATSD doesn't need it, one of those repair squads, it's still got precise. I have a DLT in there. It can still move out and use those aim tokens. So I'm not wasting any of my aim generation.
Well, cool. Do you have any other questions, Mitchum?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, 14th is pretty good, but it's not quite best in faction, Mr. Justin.
Yes, sir.
Take us on a journey. We'll start with your list here.
Yeah, so I took 6th at the GT. I went 5-1. Appreciate it. Thank you. As we said, best in CIS. I played a Dooku Grievous as my commanders. 3 sets of B1s, just with the extra B1, as you can see. 2 B2 squads with the T series, and then the ACM. 2 Magnus with Frey, and then a Persuader tank. The biggest thing you'll notice probably about the list, 2 things that some people are doing, but not as much. My Dooku is tuned out completely different than most other people. So I was the only one that didn't run the standard everyone says push, burst, and choke with aggressive. I ran him with reflexes, choke, battle med, and aggressive tactics. And I mean, I think we all agree Dooku's got probably one of the top 3 best keywords in the game, which is direct trooper. So putting battle med on him was huge, and it saved me a lot because with cunning, pairing that with Dooku's 1-pip, you can just pass that order off to anyone with battle med. So in an emergency, I think like one of my games, my Persuader was down to 9 health, and and I needed him to go and at least get one more shot before he got tuned up. So I just played Dooku's 1-pip, pass that order off, and then direct to Dooku anyway to still have a chance to use him. So that was great. And then my B2s with the T series, like getting that, taking away their AI, using transport to get them in the battle, and then also having that natural surge from reliable 1, it paid dividends in me. Like that's my action units, and to put them up there and do that, to use them for that was kind of my my thought process with the list. on there. And then I think Grievous is kind of slept on. His courage is a problem, which I can talk about on one of my matches that I lost. But his like relentless and moving up, and his command cards are just so good. His 2-pip with ruthless it really pays off when you need it. So I thought they worked really good together, and I mean they did pretty good for my primaries and secondaries. So I did close the pocket, intel, and then bunker assault, and then I did surface, recon, and sweep and clear. I ended up playing all those matches. So my first game, I played an EXD list. I played close the pocket on that one. Then I played my second and third game. Both were a bunker assault against my second match was against a Vader triple dues, double IRG, which was tough. And then I played a 501st Anakin with a super squad of with fives and the shotgun, which was probably my toughest match in the game. It really came down to pure luck and dice rolls on that one. And then I played one intel with against a rebel sleeper cell, and then I played 2 recover the researches out there. So I had quite a variety, a lot of sweep and clear, and it saved me in more games. That killing an enemy and getting 2 VPs, especially on a recover the research where you're probably trading off VPs, is crucial. So that really helped me out a lot on there. And then for advantage cards, I had intel, cunning, and ordnance. If I could go back, I would probably take ordnance out. Not because I think it's bad, but I just forget it every single time. Like I draw it, I'll see it on the table, and then I'll just never remember to play it. Or if I do put it on the table, I'll then forget to activate it at the end. And I think that's a very common thing that people are having. So something like that's like a good. It's an advantage card for a reason, and you forget to use your advantage. So that could be kind of a problem. But yeah, that's the list.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been trying to keep those advantage cards in my hand when it's one you got to play, just to
Oh yeah, that'd be smart.
try
Put it in
to
your command deck or something like that, just so you see it, like poker.
How'd that tank do? The
So the
Persuader
tank,
tank.
I love the tank. I know it. I know the prototype is better with its coordinate trooper that it has, but I really use it because turn one, or my first command card I play every time is standing orders, and the only order tokens I have in the bag are Grievous, Dooku, and one set of Magnas, because I give the order to the Persuader transports one set of my B2s, which they then get in order. I direct the B1s, and they chain all the way down to the other set of B2s. So my core all have an order, and then I get Entourage Magnus with Grievous. So then I'm playing a 4-pip, probably getting to go last most of the time, and I have a very clean and predictable bag right off. So that's what I appreciated about the tank. And people see it on the table, and they get worried about it, and they get tunnel vision on the tank, and they start shooting it, and it just allows B2s and Dooku and Grievous to creep up on you with some Magnas, and before you know it, you're having problems. So that's what I really like about it.
I mean, 11 wounds. It breaks at 7. Surge to hit, surge to defend. Like, holy cow! I don't even think I even looked at this card when it came out.
Armor 5.
Armor 5, Arsenal 2. It's got 4 different guns on here, I think, the way you have it kitted out. So
yeah.
Man, this thing's pretty crazy. Did you end up using transport at all?
Yeah, I used it every single game. I used it every game, and I used, like I said, with a set of Magnets, because as big as that base is, and I'm getting to go last. So you get a speed 1 move on the board because it is speed 1, but the base is the longest base in the game. Then I'm getting a speed 1 move off of it with the B2s, and their biggest limitations, obviously, their range 2. But I've already cut half the board off by doing that. So on round one, I'm getting usually a full squad of B2s as my last act to shoot at you. Maybe lose one B2 at the most. So that's putting 4 reds, 6 blacks, and if you've really exposed yourself, you can get those wrist rockets. It's 7 reds right off. Like, so it's nothing to scoff about, in my opinion, on there with a surge too.
So I know you got 10 acts here, and I know Jeff was also running 10, but he had the repair guys with him to kind of help with that attrition game. Did you run into any problems with attrition, or were your units just tough enough to tank through it? I know CIS is all of a sudden a red save faction, it seems.
There's some white saves in there. There's 7 B1s that are scared for their life out there.
Oh yeah, the B1s. That's what we're worried about with this list.
Yes, the sacrificial lambs.
The droids that have to be there.
They're so great at capping back objectives so you can move forward. That is what I use them for every single time. It's just my turn 1 to get my bag clean, and with Grievous's Ruthless card, that's why I put the 7th B1 on there. So I'll just take a wound, get a free action, and I can just run these B1s up there and then hope you waste a big shot to do that, to allow me then, like, I don't care to lose 42 points on there. I mean, for 7 B1s to either hold an objective or take a shot off, so that's an act you're wasting, and then I'm up on you. But as far as you're saying on the repair droids, so I used to run an alternate of this list with Ventress, and I had 2 PK droids with it. But with the new change and just how expensive they are, like, it'd be great to bring your B2s back and stuff, but as aggressive as I was playing the B2s and running them up, I just don't think I could have kept B1s up there to repair them. It could have been okay to hang them back with the Persuader tank, but I was honestly going in expecting all 6 games to lose the Persuader because I wanted people to shoot at it. Because if you're shooting at it, you're not shooting at Dooku, you're not shooting at Grievous, and you're not shooting at my B2s, which is going to be my problem, because I think if you underestimate the Persuader tank, it's going to hurt you. But if you overestimate it too, it's also going to hurt you. So it's like, it's which way you want to go with shooting, and in my opinion of how it was with me. And I think I lost it twice in there, but that was really it out of 6 games.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You brought up the 7-man squad of B1s. I think that's part of the reason why Sleeper Cell are so good right now, is because with that droid they bring, that brings them up to 7. And
Right.
there's nothing in the game that can just wipe them out in a single turn. So like you get Vader or you get an Anakin into them, and they're going to swing, but like they're going to be stuck in that combat for the whole other round unless they have other shenanigans. But having 7 wounds in a unit is just really big, I think, and especially this day and age of just if you can throw someone's timing off for another round or delay something another round, that's huge. So yeah, and I know you're running these as kind of like backline cappers, but yeah, the 7th B1 is pretty interesting in that. So
Yeah, and if you're looking at the statistics of the wide dice that you need, I mean, you're going to need 7. I was pretty consistently getting 1 crit every time with those, and that's really all you're wanting. You're wanting to put some suppression out there. The Vader do list, I was in some trouble because they were on my back bunker right off, like they were there through recon, and then Vader's card where he allows them to take a wound to continue up. Like they were tied me up. I was tied up with 2 dewbacks and 2 IRG against a Persuader and a set of Magnus. That's all I had there, and they were all over me. And I had to pivot and run Dooku over there. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Like no one wants to see him on the battlefield. But in the meantime, I pulled a set of B1s up and I rolled on an IRG that like it was probably what swayed the game. He had 2 IRG left, and I shot him from maybe at half range with B1s, and I rolled 4 natural crits on him, and he whiffed and lost both of them on there, and it like saved the game for me because I think I probably would have lost that match if not. But sometimes white dice spike, sometimes you whiff out. So that was really interesting about the list and how it was. And like I said, I think there's more than one way to run every character, and I think people get caught up on the meta of how you should run someone, and then if you don't play the character and you try to play what someone else told you to use him on, you're going to probably fail with that character and not maximize him more than anything. And I've probably played, what did you say, Jeff? 10 to 12 reps now with Dooku alone. And
Yeah. And
you
to
have
be
to get
fair,
around not having. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just say, to be fair, probably half of those reps were against my Vader dues as well, to give you some
That's true.
You knew exactly how that was going to run.
100%. That was like, I knew the command cards he was going to play in order just because that's how that list plays out. And Bunker Assault is surprisingly really good against I feel really comfortable with my list to split them up with double heroes running up with lightsabers. And then the double Magnas are there for when you want to rush your lightsaber person in, and I just tie you up. Even if most people still have push nowadays, that's fine. But it allows me to get away with Dooku and Grievous to continue on to hit other people I need to go with. So, but yeah, I think.
And you can get that Persuader on 2 points.
Oh,
if there's not a big building in the way, for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Which was nice. But yeah, overall, I mean, like Dooku, I used Force Lightning a lot more than I thought I was going to with it, but it really paid off. I had a nice standby shot on the GAR 501st list, and I took out an entire GAR infantry that ran up just with the Force Lightning on there. So sometimes it works out. I mean, he naturally surges to crit. I don't know. I think Dooku's, barring Anakin and Tempted, I think if Anakin didn't have Tempted, I would say Dooku's better. Just his keywords that he has are good. He surges to crit and defense, and like taking away someone's immune pierce is it makes people question what they want to do, because if I get up there and I take it away from you, like you get surprised at what you're gonna do. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely, after hearing all this, I mean, he's definitely been overshadowed, or I guess undershadowed, because Anakin is the way he is, and Anakin's the problem. But like, man, there are a lot of good things on this unit. I don't even think I've spent like a good amount of time looking at his unit card, besides like when it first came out. And I'm just sitting here reading. I was like, okay, Cunning's good, Deflect's good, Direct Trooper, fantastic. His mastery has always been good. Oh, and by the way, he's Master of the Force 2. He throws 5 red dice in melee, 6 black dice at range 1 to 2.
Natural
6
surge
wounds.
crit.
Yeah, natural surge crit, natural block, 6 wounds, 3 courage. I mean, he's got it all. And all his command cards have always been good too. So yeah, that's,
And he can pierce.
and
melee.
It's,
can pierce,
it's incredible. Like, yeah,
and
that's crazy. More people aren't talking about him.
His command cards are great too. Like, I mean, his 1 pip obviously gives him the Relentless plus Arsenal, plus you're dishing out a ton of suppression. So if you lightning someone out, and you get a hit, you're putting 4 suppression on that unit right there, because it's suppressive and you can scatter them, and it's got pierce, plus the command card, anyone that you attack gives 2 suppression to. Like, his 1 pip is probably, besides Implacable and Anakin, is just great. I think it's better than Son of Skywalker, just by the naturally of what he can do versus them. Because I mean, you're clearing 2 to 3 units out depending on what it's up there, especially if you also use Force Choke. So that's clearing someone out plus all those other things. So you can do a lot of work with that. And then his 3 pip, I believe it is the one where if you perform a ranged attack with a unit, you get to perform a speed 2 move with that unit. The amount of times I move someone off the center part on Close the Pocket with a range 2 lightning shot, and then just run my Magnas up there afterwards and cap it, it really pays off. So he's a lot of ways to use him he's got a lot of tools in the toolbox. And like I said, it's just about how you
That's
run
any
it.
unit?
What's that?
That's
It
any
says
unit,
any
like
unit.
even a tank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says all units. So
Yeah. Yeah, if he performs a range attack against a trooper unit, he may perform a speed
or a
2
trooper
move
unit.
with
Yeah, there it
that
is.
unit. Yeah.
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 So that's the nice part about it. And like I said, it's how you kit him out to what you want to use him for. And like I said, I was the only one that ran Dooku differently. And I think between both the Invitational and the GT, I had the highest Dooku list in the game. Because I think everyone else had like EXDs and stuff pretty high up. So
I noticed you guys both ran a good amount of armor. Did you guys run into a lot of lists that brought a large saturation of impact at all, or were people seeming to not hedge that way?
No, I saw quite a few lists that had maybe like an impact grenade hedge on some arcs or another unit, but just looking at top 8, you can look at units that are the same and establish some trends overall, and on the invitational side as well. And you're going to see ATRTs pop up quite a bit on there. I think it gives just enough hedge, and with the smaller table and the higher dice pools, yes, a wrist rocket shot would be very nice on an armor unit, but even just a full B2 shot at range 2, you should get enough hits and or crits. You're gonna overcome even armor 5 on the ATST. Like I said, sleeper cell drop in 12, and then armor 5 takes off that. That's 7 saves, and it seemed very consistent. Or I'm just super unlucky, whatever the case may be. I think people are relying on dice pools almost more to overcome armor, and then a few choice impact cheap activations that can give you a couple extra hits on there.
So mostly just coincidental impact where it's convenient to take, kind of thing.
It looks like there was 52 ATRTs, and 31 of them had the laser cannon, compared to 52 B2s or 47 B2s, and then 40 Rebel Sleeper Cell. So yeah, I think that trend is. I mean, there's your armor or your armor busters right there. Either you're gonna do it with volume or you're gonna do it with quality. So, and I think the
100%.
ATRTs are cheap and they have high quality. That laser cannon is just. I mean, for 10 points at that 3 is just.
I can see it going up 5 points.
Yeah,
and
probably.
Yeah.
And honestly, in my opinion, the ATRT is the only thing probably shooting at armor. Like my persuader, I'm not shooting at other persuaders. Most ATSTs aren't shooting at other ATSTs or other armor things because you just can't get enough impact in there. Like you're maybe getting impact 4, maybe 5 on some units, but like other than that, like you're gonna lose all your other hits. So people are using that armor to take it away. The ATRT, on the other hand, is impact 3 right off. And I know the Rebel one surges to crit. So you've got a lot of ways to get that. I mean, for what, 6 or 55 or 60 points, like you're getting impact 3 at range 4. So they're just sitting back there taking pop shots and slowly weakening you until one of those big dice pools get up and hit you. And I think that's what's an advantage, but also what people are worried about on there because armor's not shooting at armor right now.
Yeah.
The ATSTs I lost were to Sleeper Cell and B2s. And
So just
the
dice
EXD, the EXD list, the Persuader is obviously a little bit different story with the shells, and then you play was it Preservation Protocols, Justin, that lets them recover on the next turn the AI unit, and then using the shells again. That pretty much just. But I would kind of put EXD off to its side and a little bit different if you're looking at a general trend across the army or across the different factions. It seemed like most armies were relying on dice pools and some incidental critical to deal with armor.
Yeah, I'm curious if Aquas will make a big difference in that because you'll have a new armored wall coming at you, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Well, cool. Any other comments on your games before I kind of just ask you guys like final thoughts on like LVO as a whole, favorite moments, that sort of thing?
Well, like I'll say for me, I think pressure got to me. I think I should have, as me and Jeff said a lot. I didn't lose my fifth game, or my opponent didn't beat me in my fifth game. I lost it myself. And I got caught into I need a good, if I'm going to go 6-0, misunderstanding how many people were going to be 6-0 to play in the finals. I got in my head that I need kill points to help set me across, because VPs are the last of the tiebreakers, which I definitely do not agree with. And I'm also biased on that because I was up 9 VPs on the next closest person, I think, around that time, that was competitive with me. But my fifth game, we're playing research, and I had swung the 2-point advantage with the sweeping clear with a sacrifice Dooku on a arc strike team, choking one and then piercing the other with force lightning, and he just whiffed on his drive spool and lost him. So I got that 2-point advantage, and we were basically both capping 4 research each, so we're each getting 3 VPs, and I'd swung it to that point, and I had Grievous on a VP, or on a research POI, and there was a set of commandos out there, and I'm like, that's 100 free points right there, without understanding what the board has and looking at what it went. And I still had units to go, but instead I got greedy on the kill points that were right there, and I jumped him out there, and I killed them, but by killing them, I left him open to another set of commandos. Shot was suppressive, and a single infantryman that got a single hit to put another suppression on there, and then another strike team took a shot, which put me at 4 suppression, and I dropped the PLI because he was panicked with his 2 courage, and we went down to kill points, and he just killed more than I did out there because I lost the Persuader, I lost Dooku in that one, and a full set of B2s, and I didn't kill as much on his guard because they just don't die, but doing that cost me that opportunity to play on the final table. So my biggest thing I could say, my biggest mistake, was not reading the board, not understanding that the win is more important than the kill points sometimes. And yeah, it was a painful loss, and I stewed on it for quite a bit, complaining to Jeff. Jeff was there as my emotional support human for that, because he knew it as well, because all he told me for day 2 was, don't do anything dumb to beat yourself. And I do it on my first game on day 2. So so that was rough. But I still can't complain. I mean, you can't complain about going 6th and best in faction. Or I guess you can complain about it, but if you are, no one's listening.
Hey, Justin, X and O is just a game away, buddy.
Right.
So,
hey, I had to go X and 1 to make sure I stayed with the
there you
with
go.
the group, right?
We need one of us to go X and 1. So
Oh man.
So, well, yeah.
Well, cool. I'm glad you got one of the fancy Jerry trophies. We've been we got to be the guinea pigs while he was developing those. So
yeah.
Nice.
I've got my row of Shadow Collectors.
Oh yeah, I
back
see him
here.
up there.
Yeah, man. Jeff, any final thought on the tournament, the experience?
Great experience. I think for anybody that hasn't gone yet, and granted, I don't have a huge breadth of experience on multiple different tournaments, but go to events. Like, if it's any large event, right? You're going to go there, you're going to meet people just like we met you guys, or you're going to go to LVO and you're going to get to see lists that are not prevalent in your area, or tables that are set up differently. And if you think that you don't have to be a good player to go to these events and have fun, just about everybody I played with was great. Was there on the GT side, at least, is where our experience is from, was looking to challenge themselves and have a good game. And I challenged myself. I lost a game through a mental mistake with a scanner unit that at the beginning of the activation, in my head, I was like, man, these stormtroopers are going to go last. They're going to move up and claim my scanner. That way I don't get the 2-point swing. And we were tied 9-9, right? And then I finally go with them, and I decided to aim shoot with stormtroopers. I don't know what I was thinking, and so of course he was contesting my scanner. So 9-9 went to he picked up 2 points, and then of course we were on the POIs, so I only ended up with 1 point. And if it could have been 10-10, and instead it ended up being 12-10 or 13-10. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, what am I doing on there? But get out there, go to events, go meet people, go meet the community. The Legion community is great. You know, all the different gaming groups. There's good guys out there that are willing to show you stuff. I know in both Justin mentioned a story from LSO a while back, but you know, playing an Ewok player and really having that person be like, hey, let me kind of show you what I'm doing here on there. And the same thing after my my match at LSO on the stream table and talking with the guys from the Florida Man group, and him giving me some feedback about my play style and what I was doing. There wasn't any arrogance. There wasn't any of that guy kind of thought process. I know there's maybe a stereotype that gets built up by people that haven't been to events, but everyone I've been to has just been great, and the community's been amazing.
Yeah, speaking of the community there, let me give a free shout out to I hate to do it to you Oklahoma boys, but a Texas boy that you guys know as well that really kind of took me under his wing a little bit. And so I put Reagan out there. He was there, obviously at the Invitational, and I played him at LSO. And I probably learned more between him and Jordan from Luminous Gaming's about how to play the game, and from two of the nicest people that don't judge you when you make mistakes or do anything like that, and they talk you through what they're doing and what you could have done better. And I think that's what makes Legion so great, because everyone wants everyone to be their best, because if you're your best, you're going to make someone else their best. So so that's what I really appreciate, and that's what makes the community great.
Yeah, that Reagan guy's pretty all right.
Yeah, we got a handful of Texas guys that would play with around, so he's a friend of show, so he gets passed.
Yeah, college football season's done, so.
What'd you guys think of the LVO list? Or the LVOI list? Yeah.
There was a bit of debate in our local Discord about high activation seems to be the solution to winning, and the other side was Red Safe Hero seems to be the solution to winning. I don't know. I just think Naked Rebel Troopers are really good back cappers, and they let you bring either a lot more guys or a lot more good units. That seems to be the takeaway for me. I think we'll probably get a sleeper point increase at the biannual fly swattering of medalists.
Speaking of fly swattering, what do you think about the Geo list? That was like the talk of the...
Was anyone not rooting for that list?
Yeah,
I was rooting for that list.
I was. Everyone saw
Yeah.
that. Reagan had to play it. So if you guys ever get a chance to talk to Reagan again, he played against the guy that had the massive horde of bugs just all over the table.
That's awesome. I'm curious how many flamethrowers were there to be able to deal with it, because I feel like flamethrowers were pretty hot, pun intended, when 2.6 first started, because everyone saw the double squads. But I feel like people have pulled back on the flamethrowers quite a bit.
Yeah, it seems, just kind of glancing through the invitational stats, it looks like as far as the ATRT, the laser cannon was taken 19 out of 28 times, and the flamethrower was taken 6. Now that's just one unit. I don't see clone troopers don't have a flamethrower. B2s don't have a flamethrower.
I don't remember seeing any snow.
Rebels don't have a flamethrower.
Just a few in the GT, not a lot.
Yeah,
I played those spiders that had the flamethrower as well.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing a whole lot. So,
have Snow's been getting played that much at all? I feel like they would be bringing that ion gun.
For which unit?
For the snows.
For snow troopers.
in our local, a guy brings the ion quite a bit with him. I think transport's slept on. I think everyone's talking about it being bad. But if you put the flamer on some snows, you put them up there with a gav tank or a lat, like it could get into a unit pretty early and do it. I know me and Jeff have went back and forth on it. I don't know. I haven't seen it done. I'm just trying to think of lists that could take care of some of these high acts or get into a sleeper cell or a horde of 9 Geonosians on there. Like there's got to
be better than transporting a riot squad.
So looking at the Rebel list, I'm sorry, the Empire list that were in the Invitational, I found there was a lot of variety, and it looks, I don't think this is too much of a hot take, but Empire is trying to find kind of what they can do outside of Vader, and I don't know if it's there yet. They're just on the cusp of having some things. It's kind of odd that Riot released the same time Sleeper did, and there seems to be a large variance in the abilities of the two units. But that you talked about the Persuader tank, Justin, and how heavy terrain the tables were. The Snail tank's pretty tall. That Gav showing up to some of those tables, which, mind you, is only 20 points cheaper than an ATST. It's not a huge difference. I've played around with so many lists trying to find something to do transport with like the IRG and whatnot, and it's just not there. That's not it. Maybe somebody else will make it. Before the Invitational, people just said that Geos aren't it either, and look where they're at. So, maybe somebody's out there. You can be that innovative player that makes the Gav really work and click, and at the next big tournament. But I'm not seeing it from where I'm at on there.
Yeah, I really hope the Riot Squad gets the double squad upgrade. I feel like
the best Empire list in the Invitational did have a unit of Riot Squad, so clearly they're not the problem. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
right.
It was a naked squad, though. So.
That's like saying a really good Rebel squad had an Ewok slinger in the list.
Yeah,
like
pretty much. They just
they were there.
They just brought it because probably they painted it up really cool and was just like, oh, I'll just throw this in. So
they are beautiful models. Like they're absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, they're fantastic. I love the shield, and those K2 models are fantastic.
I think that's what makes it worse.
It just sucks. A little
underwhelming because they look so good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, very surprising.
Shotguns, Rebels, and Sleepers.
Yeah, the SX-21 everywhere.
I think it's because it's so cheap. It's literally half the points of any other Rebel heavy trooper, and it just lets you bring more stuff. I'm going to try to start transitioning to those and just see how it does. But
did you guys' armor get shot by any of those much, or?
No. I didn't personally.
Okay.
No, my armor, my only surprise threat was against some Tawns, which I have not seen in a while. My first player had a whole thing of Tawns on there, and they scooted up behind my ATSTs very quickly with that ram attack, and I had a slight panic moment. It was my very first game that I was about to embarrass myself at LVO. I had to do some quick adjustments and some janky reverse moves and stuff like that to get things set up. So they affected the battlefield. I'd be interested to see, I know it's down the road, but how the Han and Luke on the Taun, whatever that looks like on there. Yeah. Whatever that looks like, Maul and the Vespa, Grievous and the wheel, whatever they're doing.
Obi on a Gecko.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to see. We've talked about it previously. A lot. Matt and Randy don't have experience in 40K or AOS, so they're asking me about how mounted units change versus the foot soldiers and everything. And as far as like GW games go, it really just adds more movement and more wounds, but like the unit card doesn't stay the same. So, but I think on the other side of the coin, we thought that maybe Luke and Han on Tawns was going to be a special like forces upgrade or a support upgrade or a support unit together, kind of like Bad Batches for operatives. They would be that for supports and stuff like that. So I think there's multiple avenues that could take it. I'm definitely not against them adding mounted commanders. I think that's part of Star Wars. Every big named character has a mount that's pretty almost stapled to them, kind of, maybe. But
I mean, I'll take them all on that sick hover bike. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just as long as it feels different than just putting them in an X34. Because I'm like, it's like,
I mean, it'll be him.
We can do this before, guys.
It'll be him on a swoop bike, so you get overrun, and then you can throw his lightsaber or whatever.
Oh my gosh! Okay, I'm in. I'm in.
I'm hoping that that Han and Luke on the Tauns is almost like Inferno Squad, where you could either run them individually into a Taun unit with like the squad leader upgrade, whatever they do with the card, or as their own unit on there. There's a lot of design space and where they're going to go. I don't think anybody has a really good warm and fuzzy on what it's going to be on there. I just want it to be good.
Yeah.
It's not. We're not asking for much, AMG. I mean, I don't know what else you want. So
just
we'll see. April's going to be pretty big, and Worlds is going to be big. So it's. There are a lot of good things to come. It's a good time to be in the Legion community. There's a lot of excitement, definitely around the country, and especially in our local spaces. I'm sure your guys is too. So
yeah. I mean, overall, like we said, we saw it out there with Rebels, and I mean, I know Rebels have won some stuff, but it's nice because I mean, think about what 3 to 4 months ago before Sleeper came out, we thought Rebels were dead. I mean, everyone was saying like they're finishing 30th, third in the 30s, 40s, 50s in tournaments. Like they're not holding up anywhere. And then all of a sudden you get a little Luke points reduction. You get Sleeper Cell. You start putting them in buses and running them up there. And like, look at this. I mean, now they're just dominating. And we all know, like we said, I mean, I'm interested to hear what you guys think Sleeper points update will be, because I mean, I think we all know it's coming. I think they're going to get 5 personally, and I think the Astromech's going to go up 5. That's what I think. I think it's going to be a 10 point that way. But on there, it's just nice to see them get it, and that's what I love about the game as well. We see almost for like half a year, a faction gets its glory, and then it gets its downfall, and a new faction comes in. And I think that's what's great about the game, to keep people coming in and wondering, and then being creative on how do I was up there on the top with this. Now I'm at the bottom. How do I get back up there with this army that I love, or this quote unquote battle force for Shadow Collective? Like, how do we get them back up there to their glory?
We don't need to argue the semantics of.
They're not a faction.
Yeah, Randy, what did you say? You said 8 points on Sleeper?
I think 5 points up on Sleeper, and then as a joke, they're going to drop the Marksman by 8 points, which people will continue to not take.
I think it was
that way they could say, hey, it went up, but the Marksman went down.
I think both times, just looking at the statistics from the GT and
I think
it was taken 8 times, maybe total, of like the 80 units of Sleeper Cell that were brought. I mean, that's probably the most worthless unit or model in the game, I would say.
You heard it now from Mitchem. He quoted it, put it on a t-shirt.
Okay, well okay.
Mitchem loves making declarations, guys.
Yes.
I gotta have my thing.
They are backed by facts and statistics and not off the cuff, I promise.
Hey, you know what? You don't not go X and 1 for nothing. So on my 1 and 2's experience. So just looking at the stats with Rebels going 60% win rate, and then you have Empire with 52% with only 48 games. Clone or Droids with 101 games at 50%, and then of course Gar with the most played games but at 42%. And this is the Invitational. So I mean, to me, I think Droids are in a great place. I mean, the second most games played, you're at a 50% win rate. I mean, I think that's what you want.
Yeah.
Gar, I mean, I'm not upset to see them that low, but I think a lot of people brought them thinking that they didn't have to think very hard to play them, you know?
I also think it was a lot of those guys won their invite with Gar too.
Yeah. and they're like, okay, I'm gonna bring this list. Like, okay, I'm gonna play Anakin. I'm gonna play Brain Dead, and then like, okay, like this is a for real tournament. So I think that number's a little lower than it should be. But yeah, I mean, Rebels way up at 60% is just incredible. Like I'm shocked. So
I think Gar's going to be fine though. They've got ARFs coming, the marksman unit. They're about to have a bunch of new toys too. So.
You forgot the biggest release of them all. That's going to fix the whole
Padawan?
faction.
Okay,
Commander, thank you
Mr.
very
Child
much.
Soldier Pusher.
He said child soldier pusher.
I'm excited for Commander Ahsoka. Thank you very much. Not the Padawan, just to make that very clear.
You know what? The Padawan's going to be the one that's like crack.
I know it's going to piss me off because I have to play Anakin because they're going to be so good together.
Yeah. Oh man,
It is.
Well, cool. I really enjoy having you guys on and learning about the team and hearing about your LVO experiences. Before we head out, did you guys have any upcoming events or things going on with Legion you guys wanted to throw out there?
Yeah, so we have, if anybody wants to make their trip all the way down to El Paso, we're doing something on May the 4th down here at Game Vault in El Paso. But I know coming up for bigger events, I am going to be the TO for Nova, which is August 27th to 31st. The Legion time should just be that Friday and Saturday of the event for over in the DC area. I've been talking to a lot of people trying to get some ideas, and we get a list together of some individuals who are going to help out with prize support and stuff. But I'm taking my 20 years of experience in the Army, and I'm going to try to funnel it into planning a Star Wars Legion event. So we'll
It's
see
the
how
same
it goes.
thing. It translates just the same.
Yeah, exactly the same. You'd be surprised. It's actually very much the same. So I talked with LJ at LVO. I was taking notes on the TOs, the judges, how stuff went there, and I really want to make it a great event. I've heard about Nova since I started playing Legion. I have never personally attended, so I'm going to try my hardest and my best to make this the event that people kind of expect out of it on there. And maybe Justin might even make a surprise visit up there. I know it's going to be my son's very first tournament. He's been playing clones for 3 years now, and he comes to our store tournaments and gets a few wins in. And he even beat me once on one of our store tournaments with his dirty clones in 501st. But yeah, he'll be coming out there. It'll be a great time, and I think a cat has joined the stream. I'm excited. Come out to Nova. Let's make Nova great again.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, like you said, doing that. I want to just say thank you to you guys for letting us come on. I know I've been pretty faithful. I look forward every week seeing the new episode drop and seeing your guys' take for it and hearing some crazy ideas you guys have and listening to hobby harassment and all that stuff. It's just I love what you guys have done with the cast, and I think it's on the top tier in my opinion. And I'm a big Dust Bowl bounty hunter fan myself out here. So, yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate you guys like taking interest in the team and supporting the Army Esports team. We're small but mighty, and we're only trying to get better. And for sure, I know I'll be at LSO this year again, and that's a big military appreciation one. Hoping Jeff can make it out too. And that'll probably be my next big tournament I'm out at. And then maybe some Army Esports can do some prize support out there at Nova, and you can have some Army Esports guys out there judging and TOing for the event. That's the goal for the year. That's what we're both kind of working towards. So we're looking at the Legion community to help us out and spread the word on everything, and just everyone keep being good people like they are, and continuing on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys don't know, on Discord, I'm Revan Eternal. I'm usually in the Empire chat. Justin is Houdini033. You can find him floating between the Sis and Rebel chat on there. Feel free to reach out with any sort of questions, and I want to reciprocate what I've seen since I joined, which is an awesome, welcoming community that's there to help out and make sure it's an enjoyable circumstance for everybody.
Awesome. Well, cool. I guess that draws us to the end, and we'll have links below for everything we mentioned throughout. And just remember, X&O is resisting that bloodlust just a little bit away.
Thank you, Randy.
Bye, everyone.